Ladies and gents, welcome to Sushi Reaction, and this is what every country in the world is best at part 2. I saw the part 1 yesterday. If you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description. It's gonna be there at the one of the top videos since it was yesterday. I don't know, depending on which time you're watching this. But yeah, it's there. But yeah, this, like I said, I mean, also people in the comment, just said that it's about being best at not what's something positive. It's about best. But like I said in the previous video, the wording and phrasing of the sentence matter. And when you say what every country in the world is best at, usually people think of the positive things, not the negative things. Because being best at something does not mean what is the biggest thing about certain things, is what the best positive thing about you is. That's what it is. Alright, you can argue the semantics, but in the end, language is not just about what is the dictionary definition is what this is. No, it's about what resonates with people. When you say what are you best at, you don't say I'm best at just sitting at home watching YouTube, I'm best at doing drugs. No, what you're gonna say something positive about it, like what I'm best at, I don't know, like running something at sport, driving a car, something like that, what I'm best at. Alright, so being best at something usually means something positive. What is some certain country is best at? Germany, I'm best at automobiles, engineering. India, I don't know, agriculture or something. You don't say this country is best at being a terrorist. So like I said, the title should have been what is the biggest stat of every country in the world. That should have been fine. Then it's positive, negative, doesn't matter. Because if something is negative, it should be what every country in the world is worst at. And then the title should be what every country in the world is best at, and finding the positive aspect of things. Only positive things you can look at being best at something. You don't see something negative as being best at something. That's worst at something. So, you could argue that being best does not mean something positive, but it kinda does, because, yeah. So that's what's this one. Remember people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast for the playlist, check out the end cards, and yeah.
This video is made possible by Tab for a Cause. Install their free browser extension by clicking the link in the description to help raise money for a charity that you care about. This is what every country in the world is best at part 2, and if you haven't seen part 1, you should go watch that first, but we left off with Lithuania, which has the fastest public Wi-Fi speeds in the world at 16.6 megabytes per second. Hopping over to Luxembourg, we discover that they have the highest annual wages in the world. The average worker here earns $60,369 per year. Faraway Madagascar has the highest commercial bank prime lending rate at 61%, and Malaysia has the world's tallest twin buildings, the Petronas Towers at 452 meters.
Yeah, I've never been to Petronas Towers here. But once my friend was there and he posted a photo from below this towers, it looked epic. They look humongous, and that middle thing in the middle of the towers that connects that looks epic as well.
Meters high each. At the same time, the Maldives has the highest point among all countries.
Yes.
2 meters above sea level is as far up as you can get without being in a building.
Yeah, global warming is gonna screw this place over.
Meanwhile, Mali has the least amount of police officers per capita, only 38 officers per 100,000 people. Malta is ranked as the most generous country in the world since 83% of their population donates to some kind of charity, and the Marshall Islands has the highest percentage of their territory made up of water, 98.47%. Back over in Mauritania, we can discover the most Islamic country in the world. It's estimated that nearly 100% of the country's population are Muslims. And tiny Mauritius.
I'm like, I never even heard of that place. How is that big as Islamic? But yeah, I get, because it might be a small population, but all of them are Muslim. In that case, it is, yeah.
Has the highest percentage of Hindus outside of South Asia, consisting of 48.5% of their population.
Yeah, everybody in India, lots of people always talk about going to holiday in Mauritius. Mauritius, that kind of makes sense.
Mexico is ranked as the hardest working country in the world, where each worker spends an average of 2,246 hours working per year, or about 25% of the entire time that exists in a full year. Micronesia has the highest coastline to area ratio, 8,706 meters of coastline per square kilometer of land area, and Moldova has the highest rate of people leaving cities, since their urban population had a negative 1.5% growth rate last year. Monaco, meanwhile, is the most densely populated country in the world with 19,000 people per square kilometer, while Mongolia is conveniently the least populated country with less than 2 people per square kilometer.
I saw the episode of Grand Tour, I guess just 1 or 2 special ago, about Mongolia. It's ridiculous to see how empty it is. Just some towns here and there, and mostly it's empty. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a city or two that is dense enough, but still, most of Mongolia is empty. Knowing what, Genghis Khan and, Mongols did at one point, it's ridiculous to think that it's empty.
On average. Montenegro has the highest smoking rate in the world, where each adult smokes 4,125 cigarettes per year on average, while Morocco is the world's largest producer of couscous. Myanmar is home to the world's largest book, which is 1,460 pages long and set in stone, while Namibia is home to the largest wealth inequality between her citizens in the world. Nauru is the world's most obese country on average. Nepal is the most Hindu country in the world, where 81.3% of the population identify as such, and the Netherlands has the highest average height in the world, where men are just over 6 feet tall and women are 5 feet 7 inches. Funny enough, New Zealand has the largest number of sheep per capita, with about 10 sheep for every human in the country, while Niger has both...
That makes sense. New Zealand is lots of open fields and landscapes. I mean, that's where all the Lord of the Rings are filmed, I guess. So yeah.
Highest birth rate in the world and the youngest average age of citizens, just 15.1 years old. Neighboring Nigeria, unfortunately, has the most deaths related to HIV/AIDS, about 210,000 reported in 2014 alone. North Korea, meanwhile, is considered the most heavily militarized country on Earth, since over 30% of the country's population is a member of the military. At the same time, Norway is apparently a fantastic...
Yeah, landed in North Korea as one gigantic stadium. For what? I guess to hold rallies and military parades, who knows?
Place to be because it's ranked as the most democratic country in the world, the happiest country in the world, and has the highest standard of living.
Norway is the most democratic country in the world. What do Americans think of that? That's that.
In the world. Pakistan has the greatest performance at the Field Hockey World Cup since they've won it 4 times, while Panama has the most merchant ships registered to it of any country, 6,323 total ships. Papua New Guinea...
Wait a minute, is that the inspiration of the game Dying Light or something? Because it looks eerily similar, the buildings and things.
Of any country, 6,323 total ships. Papua New Guinea is considered the most linguistically diverse country in the world since over 850 languages are spoken there today, and they have the highest cannabis use at nearly 30% of the population. Paraguay is ranked as the most positive country in the world, while Peru has the largest Native American population in the world at 45% of the total population. The Philippines has the greatest performance at the World Cup of Pool since they've won 3 times, and Poland has the best performance at the Motorcycle Speedway World Cup since they've won that 6 times. Portugal is the earliest...
I'm glad he didn't mention Holocaust there, but okay.
...country to outlaw life imprisonment back in 1884. Qatar has the most CO2 emissions per capita at 44 tons per person per year, and Romania has the highest home ownership rate in the world, with 96.4% of the population owning their home. Russia has both the world...
Yeah, I guess other countries with lots of people would rent homes, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was like, how does that happen? But yeah.
World's largest arsenal of nuclear weapons and the most World Chess Championship victories, while Rwanda...
Yeah, what? Russia has the most nukes? Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, in past few decades, USA decommissioned lots of their nukes, so it makes sense. They also has lots of tanks, apparently, more tanks than any country in the world, I'm pretty sure of that.
Rwanda has the highest percentage of women employed in the labor force. 86% of all workers employed here are women. San Marino has the most motor vehicles per capita with 1,263 vehicles per 1,000 people, and Saudi Arabia has the highest military spending per capita since they spend $6,909 per citizen per year on their military. For comparison's sake,
yes, Saudi Arabia spends more in military per person. That makes sense. Otherwise, I'm like, at first glance, I heard of it like, whoa, what the hell? No way more than USA, but yeah, per person. That makes sense.
The US only spends $1,859 per citizen. Serbia has the best performance at the FINA World Water Polo Championship with 4 total victories. Sierra Leone has the lowest life expectancy in the world at just 44.4 years. And Singapore has the world's lowest birth rate, the lowest infant mortality rate, and the lowest opiates usage in the world. Meanwhile, Slovakia is the largest per capita producer of cars in the world since they produce 1 car per 6 people in the country every year. Slovenia has the highest high school graduation rate at 96%. Somalia is ranked as the world's most corrupt country, and South Africa is the world's largest producer of platinum.
And the most pirates now are from Somalia. I don't know. I think they are, right? That's where that, the movie is from, the famous movie, I'm the Captain Now. I forgot the name of that movie, but yeah.
At 80% of the global supply. Over in South Korea, they have the fastest internet speed in the world with an average connection speed of 26.7 megabytes per second. South Sudan has the lowest literacy rate at only 27% of their population. Spain is the world's largest producer of olives. And meanwhile, Sri Lanka has the highest suicide rate in the world. According to the Global Innovation Index, Sudan has the lowest innovation rate.
Sri Lanka has the highest suicide. I'm pretty sure it was Japan, wasn't it? Or that was decades or something ago. I don't know. I remember hearing about that Japan has the highest, depression and even suicide rate. There was some jungle there where people went to die or something too. Some weird name. Was it Kit Kat? I don't know what the name is. But this knowledge is really old, so I don't know. It might have changed. But yeah.
Rate in the world, and Suriname is Earth's most forested country, with over 90% of the country covered by forest. Swaziland has the world's highest HIV infection rate, with over 28% of the population currently carrying the disease. At the same time, Sweden has the highest number of parental leave days offered to workers, with women allowed 68 weeks and men allowed 18 weeks. Meanwhile, Switzerland is the most expensive country in the world to live in. Syria is the most dangerous country in the world to live in, with
Switzerland also dislikes cars, if I'm not mistaken. They have real strong laws about cars. They don't like seeing cars at all. There is no racing because racing is apparently banned because some accident happens somewhere. It's not even this in that country but some other country, but that made them ban racing too apparently there. There's all knowledge coming from Grand Tour, so I don't know.
With the lowest national growth rate, and Taiwan has the best overall student performance in mathematics. Tajikistan has the world's highest average elevation at 3,196 meters above sea level, and Thailand is home to the most victories in the Miss International Queen, a transgender women's beauty contest which they've won 3 times. Timor-Leste is the most Christian country in the world with over 99% of the population identifying as such. Tonga is the most Mormon country in the world with over 60% of the population identifying as such. And Tunisia...
Mormon country? Tonga, what? How that happened? Did Mormonism started in USA somewhere? He went all the way there and that's the most... Okay.
has the most strict gun control laws in the world, with only 0.1 guns owned per every 100 people. Across the Mediterranean and Turkey, they consume the most tea per capita in the world, 6.87 kilograms per person per year. Turkmenistan, meanwhile, has the current highest GDP growth rate in the world at 10.3%.
This is showing Georgia, Turkmenistan is east of here. Sorry for the confusion. Oh, he fucked up it.
Tuvalu has the lowest number of immigrants at just 148 people, and Uganda is the world's most entrepreneurial country, with 28% of the country's current workforce having started their own business. Ukraine is fascinatingly, I know, the world's largest producer of sunflower seeds, and the United Arab Emirates has the highest proportion of men in the world. There are 2.19 men in the country for every 1 woman. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom...
I guess all the men around the world just want to get rich, went there to live the lavish life, and just men force increase there, who knows. Seeing all this, Dubai and all the those towers and things, oh, that's a living, let's go to Dubai.
Kingdom has the highest number of books published per capita, with 1 book being published for every 355 people per year. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the United States leads the world in both most...
Yeah, they also, as I learned, they also put out lots of scientific papers too, apparently, so yeah.
most privately owned firearms per capita, with 88.8 firearms owned for every 100 people, and the highest number of fatal lawnmower accidents, with 6.
Wait a minute, what that stat was?
Most privately owned firearms per capita, with 88.8.
I thought there was somewhere about 400 million guns with less than that of population. I thought it was more than 100. More than 100% of weapons. I don't know where I heard that stat somewhere, like there are more guns than people in USA.
8 firearms owned for every 100 people, and the highest number of fatal lawnmower accidents, with 69 Americans killed by lawnmowers each year on average.
Lawnmowers? How people die by lawnmowers? How does that happen? Lawnmowers are this thing, I don't know.
To this piece of land, which is the southernmost northernmost point on land, Uzbekistan is the world's largest double landlocked country, while Vanuatu is where you're most likely to be the victim of a natural disaster. Meanwhile, Vatican City is both the smallest country in the world and home to the largest immigrant population, 100%, and Venezuela is home to both the world's largest oil reserves and the world's cheapest gas, currently at just 1 cent per liter. At the same time, Vietnam is home to the world's largest reserve.
Whoa! 1 cent
Just
per
1
liter? 1 cent? You got to be kidding me. That's really cheap. So cars must be a lot there, because why wouldn't people just buy cars? It's really cheap to buy, I guess, fuel. Don't say gas prices. It's not gas, it's liquid.
Cent per liter. At the same time, Vietnam is home to the world's largest reserve military force at 3 million soldiers. Yemen has the highest gender inequality in the world and the lowest GDP growth rate at negative 28.1% currently. Zambia has the largest number of Rhodesian giraffes, and finally, Zimbabwe has the world's highest unemployment rate, currently sitting around 95% of the country. I know that a lot of these statistics seemed fairly depressing, and it's unfortunate that the world we live in is full of inequality and unfair opportunities.
Yeah.
If you want to help, you should take 2 seconds to install the new and improved Tab for a Cause extension for your web browser. Tab for a Cause.
Yeah, people go to the this link and do that. I guess he read the comments in the first part of the video where people say, oh yeah, this is what they're best at. It's really depressing. But yeah. Alright, I guess that was what's every country in the world is best at part 2, and that finishes it. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards for the playlist. Check out the end cards. And yeah, I'll see you next time.